welcome all the participants to this first session of the last day, that is on evaluation of the project work. And since this title of the program itself is planning, execution, and evaluation, you must have undergone a lot of inputs and discussions on the planning and execution part. In this session, we will be talking on, as Professor Gupta mentioned, on a very important aspect of project work, that is evaluation of the project work. So, my dear friends, before we go to the specifically for the evaluation project work, I would like to draw your attention to some of the basic things. Uh, Towards the end of my session, I will talk specifically also about the project work. But at the beginning, I will like to have your attention and your participation. I understand that on the digital mode when we are interacting online, and this system of online interactions has also been matured now for more than 4 years. I think from March 2020, most of us have been now familiar with this system. Though we in this institute have been doing online courses from 2005 or 6 onwards. Uh, well, friends, without going in the details of all that, my humble request to all of you is to have your wholehearted participation in this session. I like my classrooms to be noisy so that I know that you are participating and you are trying to understand. And when you ask question or share your experiences, my own knowledge also increases. And I come to class not to teach anything, but to learn from all of you. And that learning will take place when all of you will interact. So, my dear friends, I will like to start my session with the small presentation over here. I have got 3 presentations. I will be discussing some of the very important and basic things. First of all, we are going to talk about evaluation of the project work. Uh, Project work is a very important aspect of your curriculum. It is a opportunity for the students. I was saying that project work is a very important component in your curriculum, where you get an opportunity. You are providing an opportunity to the students to apply whatever they have learned in a particular situation. Yes, and my colleagues must have talked about a lot about it. Now, coming to the evaluation, I would like to know from all of you, what are the 3 most important essential qualities or characteristics of a test. We execute a test to evaluate the student. So what are those things which you need, 3 most important things you think about that? Yes, I want now people can
According,
unmute and share your inputs on this.
yes, excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
According to we are following that UB type of education policy. So remember, understand and analyze. These 3 points, 3 characteristics we are testing of the students while conducting the test.
सर थोड़ा सा पास आके बोलेंगे. आपने बोला कि रिमेंबर,
understand, and analyze. These 3 things students should be able to do. That we analyze means understand and remember. These 3 characteristics we examine while taking.
Okay. If you have attended any program on pedagogy and you have attended any program on student evaluation, I really appreciate Rajesh sir's input also. But then, in pedagogy, we have very well-defined 3 very important components of a test or a student evaluation. Yes, somebody? Reliability, validity, and fairness. Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ji.
Dr. Vanita from SNDT University, Mumbai.
Okay, ma'am.
So validity means what is intended to measure, and accuracy at which it is continuously measured.
Okay, very nice. Okay, very nice.
Yeah, reliability.
Can you give an example and explain?
Actually, I'm from a pharmacy background. Can I give examples from pharmacy?
Okay.
The validity for suppose a patient is taking a medication, for example, a hypertension medication. So when he is taking a medication first day, so there should be decrease in the blood pressure. Second day, there again, if he's taking medication, there should be a decrease in the medication, decrease in the blood pressure. So I will say my medication has effectively reduced the blood pressure over a time at that dose. So I can say my drug is showing the desired validity at which it is designed.
Okay. Very nice, Vanita ji. We would like to explore this further.
Hello, sir. I'm audible.
Yes, Sandeep ji.
I'm talking about some reliable lecture, basically reliability. It basically that enhance the student learning outcomes and other things, satisfaction and overall educational experience like that.
And Parulji, reliability is a quality of a
Okay,
product
sir.
to being able to trust it. Yes, very nice, Parulji. Let me go now a little bit more in the details. There are three most important characteristics of a test. Before we evaluate the student, we have to prepare a test, and we have different testing methods also. We will not go too much in details, but let us talk about reliability is one of the things, and validity, and the third thing is, instead of fairness, I have ranked fairness is also very important, and then practicality. My dear friends, let me give you a very small example first. I want your wholehearted attention to this so that you understand this concept of reliability, validity, and practicality. These three concepts. And then we will go through the definitions, and then we will see how we can ensure that reliability, validity, and practicality in the evaluation of the project work which the student have done. Okay. Well, friends, the example is very simple. Madam ने अभी example दिया था measuring blood pressure, or in the pharmacy you have different kind of measurements. You test the patients based on, let us say, sugar test हो रहा है आपका, या BP test हो रहा है, या whatever test you are undergoing. I will give you a very small example on this. I am basically a civil engineer, as mentioned by Professor S.K. Gupta ji. Let me take a very simple example. Let us assume, let us take a case that I give you a scale. This is the scale. Yes, it has on one side centimeters, on the other side it is having inches. It is calibrated on the this plastic piece of sheet, and it can measure the length. Suppose I give you a scale like this, and I ask Dr. Vanita, for example, to measure the room, length of the room and breadth of the room. And I want to have the area of the room so that I can calculate how many number of tiles are required. So I require for different purposes, any kind of purpose. But I am asking Dr. Vanita that she uses this scale and measure this. And Dr. Vanita measures it. Dr. Vanita, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So you understand, this is a measuring instrument, and I give you this instrument, and then you say 1, 2, 3, then you come out with a figure 30 feet. You say that this room length is 30 feet and this breadth is 20 feet. It is 30 feet by 20 feet. Now try to understand, the company who has manufactured this scale, while they were printing the calibrating the scale in centimeters or in inches, there is some error in that. There is some error in the calibration of this foot rule itself. It is a half centimeter less than what it should be. Okay, so your 30 feet figure will be all right, Dr. Vanita?
There will be some error.
There will be an error. Actual room size will be different while you have measured this rule with this this room with this scale is inaccurate. You cannot rely on the instrument to have the accurate length of the room. Am I right, Dr. Manita?
Yes, sir.
So the very first condition of evaluating the measuring is reliability. Okay. Is it measuring what it is supposed to measure? But the test itself may not be reliable. Yes. Have you all understood this? Have you all understood this? The most important thing is the test should be able to measure what it is supposed to measure with the accuracy. And this can be applied to the student evaluation also. The test which you are executing, the method which you are executing to measure the level of competencies which the student have developed through the project work, that method, the test, is it reliable or no? Am I clear to everyone? Dr. Vanita?
Yes, sir.
So you can very easily with this example. Now, this is the concept of reliability, is a term used to describe one of the most significant properties of a set of test scores, how consistent or error-free the measurement is. Low reliability indicates unhealthy testing situation. You are not able to rely on this. So if I am going to calculate the number of tiles का size के उसका area निकाल के length and breadth का, and then divide by the length and breadth of the room size, that will be not giving me the exact number of tiles. Yes, it will not give me in a very simple situation. The instrument which you are using to know the blood pressure of a patient, वो instrument में ही error है. It is not showing the right degree. So it is not measuring the exact blood pressure of the patient because there is the error in that. Error-free measurement and how consistent. We will be talking in details about this. Low reliability indicates unhealthy testing situations, and the problem can be in the test, characteristics of the examinee, testing conditions, or combination of this. This can happen because of, either you're not able to put your blood pressure machine properly, or when you are calculating, it may not be, well, we will be talking in details about all this. Now, what is validity? We will be talking about, somebody mentioned from Tamil Nadu that validity is the important characteristics. Taking the same example now, you have, let us assume that we have the accurate calibration iska bilkul theek hai. Let us assume now, in the second situation, that it is exactly calibrated, properly done. It is a very standard company which you has manufactured this thing. So now I give the scale to Dr. Vanita, and she measures the room, and she comes out with a figure. Let us say again 30 feet length only, and I gave this same scale to somebody else. Somebody else means maybe Sandeep, or maybe somebody from Tamil Nadu who was giving me answer. Maybe somebody from Manav Rachana, some maybe 2 or 3 people, and Sandeep says it is 30 feet and 2 inches. Somebody from Manav Rachana, maybe Dr. Suchitra Vashisht there, I give the same accurate scale to her, and she says that it is 29 feet and 8 inches. Now, though the scale is measuring exactly, but there are different figures coming out now. They are measuring, and मैं अब किसके ऊपर rely करूं? Should I, जो मेरा score है, that may not be valid. That is dependent on who is measuring. Yes. And it's not a valid, that figure of 30 feet given by Vanita may not be valid. That I cannot say that this is a valid, because somebody else says it is the 30 feet and 1 inch, somebody says 29 feet and 8 inches. I cannot, this is not a valid score. जो end में आ रहा है वो valid नहीं है. So the definition of the validity is the degree to which. So for validity, there has to be consistency, which is mentioned in the reliability also. Validity is ensuring that the things are okay and consistently. All the three faculty members, जिनकी मैंने एग्जांपल ली, डॉक्टर वनीता की, डॉक्टर संदीप की और डॉक्टर सुचित्रा की, or maybe anybody, if there is a consistency between the thing, then we say the results are valid. This score is valid, that measurement of 30 feet is valid. The term validity, my dear friends, when applied to the set of test score, refer to consistency, accuracy with which the score measures a particular attribute or the ability of the student accurately. Thus, there are two aspects of validity: what is measured and how consistently. Consistency जो है, that is a measurement of reliability, and what is measured is the essential condition of the validity also. What is being measured. So you should be able to measure what you exactly want to measure as an outcome of their project work. As an outcome of the project, what the student should be made capable of. If it is measuring that, and if all the if that same answer sheet is given to everyone, to different people, they should have come out with a very, very close, if not exactly the same score. Unless the test score measure what the test user intends to measure, no matter how reliable, the scores will not be valid. And we will not go in the details. Practicality का मैं ज़्यादा डिटेल में नहीं जाऊंगा, but let me share. Length of the test should be such that the majority of the students are able to complete within the time. That length of the test is one of the things. And then characteristics of the student, the language used should match with the background of the student. You are not taking the English test of the student when you are evaluating them in mathematics or in physics or in in the design questions. The language should be very simple, and you should keep the characteristics of the student into mind when you pose questions. They should understand the question very well, and they should be able to know what is being asked, and they should be able to answer. Then the condition of test, such as light, quietness, temperature, conducive environment, etc. This is very important also. In the testing situation, in the practicality, the conditions of the test. Suppose this is very good, and all three of you, Dr. Vanita, Dr. Sandeep, or Dr. Suchitra ji, they are all doing same, consistency bhi hai, but the room is very hot. In between, when you are while measuring, आपको गर्मी इतनी लग रही है या लाइट नहीं है आपको, you are not able to read the conditions very thoroughly, or the environment, बाहर बड़ा शोर है. If you are taking the test, the students are not able to perform, they are not able to focus on, or you are not able to focus on when you are evaluating the student, that those conditions are there. So these are the three practical conditions. Now I would like to have your attention towards very important aspect. Then we will come down to the project work evaluation. Evaluation दो type की है on certain parameters, subjective and objective. I would like to know from you what is the subjective evaluation and what is the objective evaluation. हम कहते हैं ना, this is a objective type question paper, this is a subjective type question paper. So what is objective type question and what are the subjective type tests? Very simple question I am asking from all of you. Anybody can unmute. Now people can unmute and give me answer. What is a subjective?
So objective means we just want to know any direct answer. Basically, it may be in yes or no form. And in subjective, we just want to know what is his or her knowledge about any subject, any topic.
Okay, Mr. Girdhar, आप कहाँ से हैं?
Sir, Government Polytechnic College, Stock.
Okay. Okay, somebody else?
Excuse me, sir.
Rajesh ji, yes.
So what I feel subjective maybe descriptive type questions and objective means MCQ type questions. What I feel.
Okay, okay. Dr. Vinita, you wanted to say something?
Oral presentation, it can be essays, some portfolios,
So these are?
subjective.
Mm-hmm. And what is objective?
It can be MCQs or some case-based studies, can be objective.
Okay. Because this is a very pertinent question, because my next part of the presentation will dwell totally on this aspect. What is objective testing and what is subjective testing? Yes, somebody else?
Hello, sir. I'm audible.
Sandeep, yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, objective type question that could be multiple choice, true, false, matching, fill in the blank.
Okay.
But in case of
Okay.
subjective type, it could be like essay,
Okay.
short answer. It could be anything that we can write in paragraph. So this type.
Okay. Okay. Somebody else?
हाँ जी सर सर एक्चुअली ऑब्जेक्टिव आई थिंक इट इज मोर क्लियर देन सब्जेक्टिव
Okay. But what is objective and what is subjective test? हम लोग तो सारे टीचर हैं, हम लोग ऑब्जेक्टिव टेस्ट भी देते हैं, स्टूडेंट्स को सब्जेक्टिव टेस्ट भी देते हैं. I give you 2 minutes time. All of you, please think over it. I'll come back in 2 minutes again. And in the meantime, I want everyone to think about it. What is objective test and what is subjective test? Okay. And we'll continue our discussions. 2 minutes. I give you 2 minutes more on this.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, in subjective evaluation, what I feel questions can be essay writing or story writing, and in objective evaluation, quizzes, puzzles, like that. What I feel.
Okay, Rajesh Umikar ji, आप कहाँ से हैं?
Yeah, Government Polytechnic, Ahmednagar, sir, Maharashtra.
Okay. Now, my dear friends, let me clarify it to every one of you. Please try to understand it very nicely, so that you are very, very clear. As teachers, we must be very clear what is objective test and what is subjective test, and what are the characteristics of a objective test and what are the characteristics of a subjective test, and why we have to go for the subjective testing and where we can go for the objective testing. Now, objective test, in the objective test, we are asking student a particular question and a particular answer to that. Okay. And it has a very high degree of validity as well as reliability. In a subjective test, for example, I mentioned about the objective test. We are very clear what is being asked, and there is a one and only one answer, which is a correct answer. If the student knows, he will answer that. If he doesn't know, he cannot bluff. जैसे आप KBC देखते हैं ना, कौन बनेगा करोड़पति, तो उसमें that is basically an objective test. It is highly reliable and highly valid. I will explain those concepts also. In a subjective test, the score of the students is subject to who is marking the question. Answer sheet. मेरे को evaluate कौन कर रहा है? Instead of evaluating the competencies of the student, the score is not indicating exactly what the student know, but it is subject to who is taking that test, who is marking my answer sheet. For example, in a subjective test, if there is a essay or there is a numerical, there is a design, there is something which the student has done, and if I give that report or that answer sheet to Mr. Girdhar, Dr. Girdhar, let us say if he gives 7 out of 10, and if I give the same answer sheet, the same report to Dr. Vanita, she may give 8. Somebody else may give 9. Somebody else may give 4. In subjective test, it is possible. Are you agreeing with me or no? Do you all agree?
Yes, sir.
In a subjective test, it is not measuring the competency. The score is not indicating the competency of the student exactly, but it is subject to who is marking my answer sheet. Am I right? Thank you so much, Parulji, for your feedback. But in an objective test, whether the answer sheet is measured by Sandeep Maurya ji, whether that answer sheet, that question, that test is being marked by Mr. Rajesh, Dr. Parul, or Dr. Vanita, somebody, anybody, if you have the key with you for the objective test, everybody's score will be same. So it is highly reliable. It is highly reliable. But then it has its own limitation. The objective test is highly reliable. Subjective test is not reliable. We cannot know, we cannot depend on the score of the student by having a subjective test that he has developed these competencies or no. The very purpose of evaluating the student was to measure the competency of the student. It is not subject to the teacher, the evaluator. It should be what the student have given the performance. But in every situation, now if you look at this slide, objective test is a high degree of objectivity hai, more reliability hai, high validity, economical in reading and scoring while expensive in mark making. मतलब ऑब्जेक्टिव टेस्ट को बनाने के लिए बहुत ज्यादा प्रयास की जरूरत पड़ती है. You require 10 times more effort than making a subjective test when you are making a objective test. We will come down to that also. In a subjective test, it lacks the objectivity. It is not very clear. And the student is not very clear what is going to be measured out of my competency. Nor the teacher is very clear. Maybe he is having some idea or she is having some idea. It has lesser reliability, lesser validity, expensive in reading and scoring, while economical in making. Anybody can just make a test like that. Okay, ye question puch lo, ye question puch lo. But for objective test, you have to have distractions. 4 answers or filling the blanks or right, true and false. You have to think very carefully that this is the only and only right answer. Okay, so it requires a lot of effort for that. But whereas the budget test can be, generally, I'm not generalizing it, but generally it is very, very economical in making the subjective test. Okay, having said all that, okay, please do not look at the slides right now. Please focus on me. One of the things as a teacher, and when I was student also, when I was student in 1978 to 82 in Thapar Engineering College doing my degree, we were having the concept of project work at that time also, the minor project and the major project. I was worried about when I am going to make my project presentation or when I am going to submit my report, which teacher? Is he very strict teacher? He's very lenient. Is he like this? Is he like this? I was not too much concerned on what is there in the report. I was too much concerned on who is going to measure, who is going to evaluate my report or have a viva voce with me. So my competencies were not in focus, but it was subject to who is going to do that. And as teacher, with all the good intentions, I am going to put these slides down so that you focus on what I am trying to say here. As teachers, with all the good intention, I don't want to be, somebody has mentioned the concept of fairness. Fairness is very important in the test. Sometimes I have a feeling that I have not been very fair with this student. His project was very good. Later on, I realized that no, I was not able to give him that score. Or somebody has scored very high. Later on, I realized that this project was not as good as somebody else's project. Do you all have that kind of feeling? Somebody has given a very beautiful decorated report, but while he was doing the project, he didn't even go to the site. He never worked on the machine. He took up somebody's report and copied and given to you beautifully. Somebody has in Chandigarh city, we have sector 18 and sector 35. These are the two electronics repair market. They're very, very good mechanics there. You take your television, you take your mixie, you take your anything, and they will repair it. They are not very highly educated. They may not be even ITI, but they are able to do that. And they make the projects of the students also, not costing more than 200, 300 rupees. You just go there, give him the topic, and then they will prepare the circuit and they will assemble it. And then they give it to you. And somebody who has worked very hard, his project, his final जो prototype है, may not appear to be very good. His report may not be very good, may not appear to be very good. But he has slogged, he has worked very hard. He may not score very high. Because what you are focusing on is on the report. That is why this topic has been kept, especially when we are trying to evaluate the higher order capabilities of the student. We cannot measure those capabilities, higher order capability. In मैं भी taxonomy आपको नहीं पढ़ा रहा. Higher than the application, knowledge, comprehension, and application. These three levels of competencies can be measured by objective test. But the project work involves the higher creativity. All those things. If you look at this, yes, sir. Somebody want to say something? Higher, if you look at this slide, my dear friends, taxonomy यहाँ पे आके एक role play करती है. Cognitive में higher than the application, syntax, synthesis and evaluation. Analysis, synthesis and evaluation. These cannot be measured by objective test. We have to go for the subjective test. In psychomotor also, precision level की हम लोग चीजें माप सकते हैं while watching at looking at the things, but articulation and naturalization level की चीजें हम नहीं measure कर सकते through objective test. By report, by looking at the report, by looking at the prototype, we cannot go by that. And affective domain mein, we will not talk too much in details about it. And in the project work, my dear friends, these are the 6 major A's which you are trying to measure, and they are all beyond the level of simple application. Analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. You are measuring the creativity of the student, their analytical abilities, their abilities to analyze the things, their ability to synthesize various elements of knowledge required to do that, various psychomotor abilities to come out with that prototype. And these are the 6 major parameters: authenticity, academic rigor, applied learning, active exploration, adult relationships, and assessment practices. These are the 6 A's you are trying to measure in the project work. I will not go in the details of all this because this requires a lot of inputs and time is not available with me. So, my dear friends, now my next question is from all of you. Objective test is highly practical, is highly valid, and highly reliable. But in case of project work, when we are evaluating the project work, we cannot go by objective test. We have to go by the subjective test. Now, my question from all of you is, how can you bring about objectivity? How can you bring about more validity, reliability in a subjective test, in a subjective conditions of the project work? How can you do that? For that matter, any test. I'm not talking about particularly about the project work, any test which you are giving, which is a subjective test because you want to measure the capabilities of the student of a higher order, higher than the application, their analytical abilities, their ability to synthesize, their ability to evaluate, to create. If you are measuring that through a subjective test, which is the case in a project work, how can you ensure the validity, the reliability? How can you, in a simpler term, how can you bring about objectivity in a subjective test? Is my question clear to everyone? You cannot go for the objective test while evaluating the project work, but it is a subjective test. But my question is, how can you bring about objectivity? You are trying to measure the capabilities of the student. The score should indicate the capabilities of the student, not that I am taking his viva voce, I am reading his report, or somebody else is reading his report. And that is true even for the laboratory reports or for any written examination. में आपके यदि subjective question है, how can you bring about objectivity? How can you increase the reliability and the validity in that? Which are the important characteristics of a test, any evaluation system? You may give me some score. The same report I give to somebody else, there is a difference between the scores. Your reliability is compromised. And your scores given by A person only, or we do not give to B person, may not be exactly, your method of measuring the report may not be accurate to evaluate the competencies of the student which have been developed through that project work.
In our assessment of project work, MSBT, our Maharashtra State Board of Technical Education, in the curriculum, they have given some rubrics, and based on those rubrics, in that how the student is maintaining weekly diary, then how he is submitting the project proposal, the literature survey, then project topics. All these rubrics they are given, and based on those rubrics, we make the assessment of the project, sir.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Rajesh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Rubrics is a very beautiful technique. I am not going in the details of that rubrics. I want to, I developed a system. Rubrics is one of the ways, one of the very important aspect of converting the or increasing the objectivity in the subjective test. What is the basic principle behind that rubrics? Rubrics का basic principle में आपने करा क्या? What exactly you have done by creating a rubrics? Any idea, Rajesh ji? What exactly you have done?
Sir, for suppose in the end term, we take the seminar of the student. So in the defense means how the student is having communication skill, how he is having presentation skill. Based on that, we are having 4 parameters: excellent, good, average, and poor. So according to that performance, we do the marks and we assess the performance.
Okay, thank you so much, Rajesh ji. Thank you so very, very well. You have solved my problem. All of you must have understood it. He has used the word parameters. He has used a very beautiful word, which I am going to use in my presentations also. By increasing the parameters of measurement, by increasing the parameters of the measurement, you are eliminating the chances of error, chances of subjectivity. You are increasing the objectivity. Now, instead of giving marks based on his oral presentation and then you give the 10 out of 10 you give marks, you are now increasing the number of parameters. Yes, Rajesh ji? In rubrics also we do the same thing. We divide the competency developed in the student into more number of parameters. Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
By increasing the number of parameters to be measured, you are increasing the validity. You are also increasing the reliability. You are increasing, basically, you are converting subjectivity into objectivity. You cannot compromise on subjective testing because higher order की learning है, but you can increase the objectivity in the subjectivity by increasing the number of parameters. Now, what we try to do in this case is, instead of having the total marks out of 100, how many marks to this project, how many marks to this project, number of students are having different projects, we are distributing the marks into 4 categories. Number 1, planning. 10% marks, how well planned the student has done the planning part before even the execution. Then actual execution के ऊपर 30 marks. 30 marks he will be able to get if he actually executes the project. He doesn't buy the project from sector 18 or sector 35 or from ABC person. Execution. And then quality of the report or the product. जो भी आपका project है उसकी report 40% marks. Earlier, usually 100 marks are given based on this, but it carries only 40 marks out of 100. And then presentation and viva versa, which is very, very objective, 20% marks on this. So instead of having 100 marks on things, as Rajesh ji was mentioning, we have divided into 4 part components of the project evaluation: planning 10%, execution 30%, product or the report 40%, and presentation viva voce 20%. So you have increased number of parameters. I'll go further on this. Try to understand this slide very well. This will help you in preparing the rubrics of the project or for any subjective test also. I will give you go further on this. In the planning, 10% marks out of 100, there are different further components, which Rajesh ji mentioned, few of them, and I am giving you some more components. Even for 10% marks, uski project definition, feasibility, task analysis, strategies, sequencing, methodology, or what novelty. So those 10% marks maybe you have given further details. I am giving you the science behind the rubrics now here in case of project work. So you can actually have a departmental meetings or the college level or the university level meetings, and the previous slide which I have shown you, you may vary this with a lot of discussions with the teachers and with my own understanding about the student evaluation. Ye maine distribution kara, but you may not agree with me. You may change it also. But then these are the important components. We are not evaluating the student only on the product, but on the process also. There are 2 types of evaluation: product and process. Product is important, but along with it, process. How you have done that process. So the first process is planning. So 10% marks. And then now out of 10, maybe 2 on definition, maybe 3 on visibility, maybe 1 on strategy, maybe sequencing, maybe 1 number. That will depend on the teachers. They can decide. But the student must know that I will be evaluating based on my planning. And these are the further parameters. You may add and you may delete some parameters and give a complete rubrics on this. And then evaluation of the execution while the students are performing that project work. These are the parameters. These are number of parameters. Information or sense of inquiry. Somebody mentioned literature surveys. His sense of responsibility, how responsibility the person, if he's working in an industrial project or anywhere, under whose supervision he was doing, was he responsible, was she responsible, how responsible, and then those parameters can be also added in this. Effectiveness in team. Let us say if it is a group project, usually the projects are in a group. One person is doing the work, the 3 other students, 4 students are not doing. So in the execution, you see his effectiveness in the team. And then the resource effectiveness. How well he is handling the material, tools, equipment, financial, time, or informational resources, all the resources. And then you can give marks to each one of them. If he is very good in identifying the material, choosing the right kind of material, choosing the right kind of tools, choosing the right kind of equipment, and how economically he is working on the finances, is he going at a right pace, what is the knowledge behind it, behind that decisions which he is taking while doing the project. Different number of marks, 30% marks further are divided into number of other parameters. So by okay, let me go to the product now. In the product on the report, these are the parameters which I think can be included in the measurement. So 40 marks is not 40 marks. 40 marks ka further we have done the subdivision. We are trying to objectify the subjective testing. Yes? Yes, Rajesh ji? Dr. Vanita?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes.
The presentation part was
Yes, sir. Yes, it is the understood, sir.
We are trying to now understand the science behind those rubrics. And even if you do not know anything about the rubrics, you can do this. And presentation and viva voce is again 20 minutes, which is very, very objective. Very, very objective. The objective with which you have designed the project, your viva voce should include those questions. And in this, you can, have the marks distribution on the communication and the other things also. So, my dear friends, planning and yes, please.
Sir, all our participants are requesting to share these PPTs because we will share these PPTs with our students and explain them. It is very helpful, sir.
I will share some notes with Professor Gupta ji, and he will share with all of you.
Okay, thank you very much.
My dear friends, this is all I wanted to share with you. Do not go for product evaluation. Go for the process evaluation and product evaluation. Increase the objectivity in your subjective testing, and you can do that by increasing the number of parameters. You are reducing the chances of error, or you are increasing the validity in the measurement of the project work. You can apply the same principle in your subjective test in the written paper also. When you are asking a essay type question, so what exactly you want to know, that those number of parameters can be included in that. For example, in civil engineering, we have a question, we have a subject on steel structures. There are only 3 or 4 questions are asked, not more than 3 or 4. And it is all subjective because it's a design paper. You want to see that, capability. At the end of the design, even if your design is not meeting the BIS standards, you may still score 100% because we are not focusing on the answer. We are focusing on the process. And for each step the student had done that, we want to know that how he is approaching the question, how he is analyzing, how he is able to synthesize. I am not too much concerned about the final answer. Are you getting my point, my dear friends?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions in your mind? Evaluation of the project work. Now, when the student is going for, evaluation of the project work, or you are going for the evaluation of the students, you will not have anything, any guilt in your mind कि मैंने उसको कम दे दिया, उसको ज़्यादा दे दिया, because वो बहुत objective कर दिया हमने, बहुत उसकी reliability and validity बढ़ा दी हमने. We have increased the reliability and validity of that measurement technique.
Excuse me, sir.
And one of the things which I wanted to share with you is, when you are evaluating the student, that is a time when the teacher's learning has to be there, because students are doing projects, they are going much deeper, maybe in the industrial setting. my suggestion would be that all the department faculty should sit during the student evaluation of the project work, especially when they are making a presentation and when you are doing a viva voce. Yes, somebody wanted to say something.
Sir, for project evaluation, we make it compulsory for all project groups to meet weekly to their project guide, and
Yes.
and our project guide sees every student what is his contribution, what is his participation, and based on that we try to do justice to the students, sir.
Very good, very good. It is not at the end of the term, but along when he is doing the project, you are evaluating the process evaluation. Yes.
Yes, sir. Every week in first semester it is project planning, and in second semester project execution. So right from the start of academic year, we follow this procedure.
Thank you so much. You are doing a good job.
Sir, please, sir, our HOD wants to talk with you, sir.
Yes, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
So your session was highly interactive and highly informative, sir. As our department is NBA accredited, and there are some queries in the experts report regarding the quality project report writing. So certainly we have received some ideas and suggestions and guidelines from you, so that we can include these ideas or incorporate these suggestions, so that our project report will be quality project reports.
Yes.
And a very important thing is that, sir, so how the subjective evaluation can be converted into the objective evaluation. So this was nicely explained by you, and I think the rubrics is the technique for that, so that there is a transparency is maintained in the evaluation. Students are also know
Clear
how
on that.
they are going to evaluate it, and teachers also have the clarity how they are assessing the project report or any demonstration of the project. So there is clarity between students and the teachers for the evaluation, and thus this subjective evaluation is converted into the objective evaluation, sir. Certainly, this lecture will be very helpful for us, sir, because we are going to apply for extension in the December. We have received NBA for 3 years, and in the December 24, we are going to apply for the extension. So, for writing the explanation regarding the points raised by the experts, so your lecture will be very helpful, sir. I once again request you to send the PPT for all the participants, sir.
Sure, sir. About the rubrics come into play. Rubrics play a very significant role, not only for the projects, not only for the industrial training, internship, and other things. Wherever there is a subjectivity, you can convert to large extent objectivity and increase the reliability and validity, which are the essential characteristics of students' measurement. That's what I wanted to share with you. And about the report writing, I have a full session on report writing, the format of a report, the significance of a report. That is a complete session which cannot be done at this stage. But I will give my notes to Professor S.K. Gupta, who can share with all of you. The quality of the report should be very good. It should be standardized. The format, the front matter, the main report, and the conclusion. And it should be very well done. These are the basically documents which speaks about the, I normally share in my sessions on the report writing. IIT ka student, when he is preparing a report, somebody from USA, somebody from Germany, somebody from Australia, he is not meeting the student. He understand the report. The report is a mouth. जो हम बोलते हैं मेरे अंदर क्या है वो आप नहीं जानते, but what I am speaking, you are listening to that. So the report is a mouthpiece of the quality of the work which an institute or which a student has done. So whatever he has done, he tries to put it in the report. The report should be very standardized, very good one. I have a complete session on the report writing also. Maybe some other time we will be talking about that, but I can give you my notes on the report writing.
Okay, sure, sir. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your encouraging word, my dear friend. Okay, if there is no questions, then I like to close my session.
Valuable time. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.